So we have more interesting news coming out about Suicide Squad. It seems like this game is going to be giving us a lot more news over the next coming days, because I think what's happening is that the walls are closing in, ladies and gentlemen. I think that ultimately this game has proven to be a massive failure, to the point where even Kotaku, shill media Kotaku, has to admit that this is a massive failure, right? And whenever Kotaku admits a game is a failure, they either didn't get paid for their mainstream access, or they just straight up having to admit the truth because it's so blaring, right? Well, we have a report here from Kotaku that says Warner Brothers executives thought Suicide Squad would make a ton of money despite development woes. Now, you gotta imagine, they probably thought it was going to make a ton of money because they got their rocks off on the idea of, ooh, it's gonna be a live service game. I can't wait to make all that money on DLC from a bunch of idiots who are gonna pay for it. Well, unfortunately, I think they realized that even some of those idiots that would pay for all of that stuff still want a working and complete game before they are willing to shell out more money for the video game that they already spent $70 in order to play. So let's get into this article, guys, from Kotaku. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Rocksteady Games is working on a Hogwarts Legacy director's cut and hoping to pivot back to single player games. Now, if Rocksteady's is actually working on a Hogwarts Legacy director's cut, I gotta imagine that they are even you guys gotta understand. Let me just start off with this. I've said many times with many different Suicide Squad videos, Hogwarts Legacy is a ridiculous behemoth of a game, right? This game was the #1 selling game of 2023. This game is still, to this day in 2024, one of the top selling games, top 10. I think it's number 5. Top 5, top 6, whatever. It's going strong to the point where people, and they know, they gotta admit that people want single player incredible experiences that they can continue to enjoy, and they can also remember, tell their friends about, word of mouth gets around, you know what I mean? Without feeling like you're getting nickel and dimed. Hogwarts Legacy is a prime example of top tier gaming from back in the day, right? Single player experiences that you can talk about all day. That's what this is. Now throw it in comparison to Suicide Squad, which its background was single player, and they decided to give that all up for the live service model. Whether they did that in the beginning or they did that halfway through development, it doesn't matter. The moment they decided to give up that ideology, that's it. The soul of the game was gone. It was never going to come back. It says anyone who played Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League could probably guess that something went terribly wrong during development. Yeah, I would say that is 100% the case. Bloomberg now reports that the multiplayer bomb from a studio beloved for its single-player Batman Arkham games was plagued by several issues leading up to its repeatedly delayed launch. Well, guess what? One of those issues that they're probably not going to want to talk about is corporate greed, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what it is. Corporate greed is the forefront of live service games, where they're trying to get money for a video game consistently for as long as they possibly can. If they can stretch out a game's lifespan and continue to collect money from it, they're going to do so. And that's what leads to the live service model. It says, according to Bloomberg, there wasn't a single cause of Suicide Squad's failure. Instead, the Rocksteady Studios project was hurt by an unclear and shifting creative vision, an ill-fated pivot to a completely new genre, and the perfectionism of former creative director Sefton Hill, who left the team prior to release to head up a brand new studio that reportedly is working on a blockbuster for Microsoft. Staff told Bloomberg that Hill often created a bottleneck during development, with people waiting a week or longer for him to sign off on individual elements of the open world shooter. At one point, he apparently had the idea to introduce an in-depth vehicle customization aspect to the game, balked at by others on the team since it would seemingly undermine Suicide Squad's emphasis on its anti-hero's own individual traversal abilities. The game does still have very bad vehicle missions in it, which might be a remnant of that earlier vision. Now, again, people, Suicide Squad, whether it was in the beginning, whether it was in the middle, or whether it was in the end, it doesn't matter. If they needed more development time, they should have taken more development time. The fact that they chose not to do so goes all the way back to, guess what I said? Corporate greed, ladies and gentlemen. Corporate greed is going to push them to do stupid decisions that they shouldn't be doing, that are going to be inherently anti-consumer. That's just what it is, man. They don't want to make things that are for the gamer anymore. That's not their market. They're trying to make games for investors. They're trying to make games that they think are going to make them maximum return on their minimal profit and profit off of it. But unfortunately, they thought that by investing $200 million into this game, that they were going to get some insane return like that. And that's just not the case. That's not going to happen. Then it says perhaps a bigger issue facing Suicide Squad is that it was modeled after games like Destiny without its chief creative having much experience with them. Hill scrapped big chunks of the script and struggled to convey his involving ideas, they said, confessing that he hadn't spent much time with competing games such as Destiny. Bloomberg reports those setbacks were compounded by increasing debt due to short-term fixes for a project that some hoped would ship as early as 2020. So why didn't anyone pull the plug or try to right the ship? Well, Warner Brothers executives apparently didn't see anything to be concerned about. According to Bloomberg, they kept reviewing demonstrations of the game and sending laudatory feedback, praising the graphics and saying they expected Suicide Squad to become a billion-dollar franchise. Holy shit. Billion-dollar franchise. Nice, for sure. Now, the funny thing is, they must have known that at this point, when you're investing this much money into a game, the only saving grace in their mind is they kept thinking and hearing live service model. That's what they kept thinking. The entire time they were looking at what was being made and they kept seeing demonstrations. They were thinking to themselves, ooh, this is going to be a live service game. Yeah, these graphics are really going to sell us billions of dollars. Yeah, I can't wait. We can sell a bunch of DLCs with these graphics and those stupid gamers will go and buy it. Yeah, we're going to be having a great time. They think with the live service model first, and they don't think with the gamer first. And ultimately, they didn't realize, or perhaps they chose to ignore, the glaring signs that were there during development that said, hey, this is going to be a terrible situation. Perhaps we should pivot or just cancel ship. And they just didn't want to do it. It's unclear what Rocksteady's future is now, as the rest of the gaming industry suffers mass layoffs and cutbacks. Bloomberg reports that many at the studio are currently helping with a director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy, one of Warner Bros.' best-selling single-player games ever. I think it is the best-selling one. While Rocksteady's leadership tries to return to its roots with a pitch for a new single-player project, whatever comes next, it certainly doesn't sound like a massive effort to overhaul Suicide Squad is underway or will ever materialize. Despite several more seasons of the game plan, player numbers on Steam are anemic, and Rocksteady has already abandoned the game's weekly blog updates. Oh, that's a big sign. That's a big sign. If they're not doing weekly blog updates anymore for a live service game, ladies and gentlemen, this game is dead. It is 100% dead. They are going to try to make whatever couple of bucks they possibly can with it, and then they're going to pull the plug. I made a video just before about Rocksteady supposedly going to get canned by Warner Brothers. I can believe that. I honestly can, and I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. I don't think it's going to be layoffs, and even if it is layoffs, it's going to be perhaps they lay off half the squad and then take the other half and move them to other studios. Ultimately, I think Rocksteady is just going to be shunned and destroyed, and it's by their own doing. That's basically it, man. Volition suffered the same exact thing with Saints Row, and Rocksteady is going to be another example of what happens when you decide to fuck with the gamers and not give them what they want. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.